You're watching Major League Baseball's virtual network. I'm Nicholas Callis. These are your game recaps, standing updates, and league leaders from Sunday, May the 31st, 2020. The Blue Jays and Orioles played each other, and the Blue Jays won by a large margin, 12-3 the final score. They scored most of their runs in the last two innings, but they had the lead for most of this game. Thomas Pannone got the win, Michael Rucker got the loss, and Anthony Bass earned his second save of the season. He pitched the final three innings. The Brewers and Rays played each other, an interleague game here, and the Brewers won also by a large margin, 14-3 the final score, and the Brewers got 14 runs on 14 hits. The Rays got just 3 runs on 8 hits, and they scored all 3 of their runs in the final 3 innings of this game. Freddie Peralta got the win, and Yanni Chirinos got the loss. AL Central Baseball here, another lopsided score. The Twins beat the White Sox by a score of 9-1. The Twins have moved up. They're 3 games ahead of the White Sox now in first place in the AL Central. Cody Stashak got the win, and Dane Dunning got the loss, his first of the season since being on the Major League club. Interleague play here, the Braves and Mariners played each other, and the Braves won by a score of 6-5. The Mariners were making a comeback in the final 4 innings. They got 2 in the 6th, 1 in the 7th, and 1 in the 9th, but failed to come back. Both teams got 12 hits, but the Braves scored 1 more run than the Mariners did. Felix Hernandez got the win against his former team. Marco Gonzalez got the loss, and Will Smith earned his 19th save of the season. The Angels beat the Yankees 10-1 the final score of this game. The Angels came out early. They got 3 runs in the first and 3 runs in the second inning, a run in the third, 2 in the fourth, and 1 in the sixth, totaling 10. The Yankees got their lone run in the 4th inning. Julio Teheran got the win, and Jonathan Loaiza got the loss. AL Central Baseball here. The Indians and Royals played each other 7-4 the final score. The Indians struck first in the first inning. They got 4 runs in the 3rd inning, and the Royals were pretty much helpless after that, but they did muster 2 in the 4th and 2 in the 6th. Then the Indians tacked on some insurance in the bottom of the 7th inning. They scored 2 runs, and they won the game. Mike Clevenger got the win. Jake Junis got the loss, his 8th of the season. And Brad Hand earned his 22nd save of the year. AL West Baseball, the Athletics and Rangers played each other. This was a close game, 8-7 the final score, and the Rangers came out on top against the team that's first in the AL West right now. Kyle Gibson got the win, Sean Manaea got the loss, and Jose Leclerc earned his 14th save of the season. Red Sox-Astros, these two played each other, and the Red Sox won by a run. This was a close game. The Red Sox scored first in the top of the 6th. The Astros got 2 runs in the bottom of the 7th. And the Red Sox scored in the top of the 9th to win the ballgame. Darwinzon Hernandez got the win, Brad Peacock got the loss, and Brandon Workman earned his 17th save of the season. The Dodgers and Mets played each other. This is a close game and a high-scoring game at that. 11-9 the final score, and the Dodgers came out on top. The Mets got 12 team hits as opposed to the Dodgers' 11 team hits, but the Dodgers came out slightly in front of the Mets in this one. David Price got the win, Michael Wacha got the loss, and Kenley Jansen earned his 21st save of the season. The Pirates and Cardinals played each other. This is an NL Central matchup, and the Cardinals won by a score of 7-5. There was early offense in this one. You see in those first 3 innings. Each team got some runs. The Pirates missed out on scoring in the 2nd inning, but the Cardinals got 3 in the first, 2 in the 2nd, and 1 in the 3rd. Each team scored in the 8th inning, but by then the Cardinals were already ahead, and they had already won the ballgame. The Pirates got 9 team hits as opposed to the Cardinals' 8, but the Cardinals scored 2 more runs than the Pirates did. Miles Michaelis got the win, Mitch Keller got the loss, and Giovanni Gallegos earned his 24th save of the season. More NL Central Baseball here. Another high-scoring game. A lot of high-scoring games today. Jarrell Cotton got the win in this game. He's 3-0. Luis Castillo got the loss. Craig Kimbrell earned his 19th save on the year. The Cubs came out early, scoring 5 in the first and 3 in the third. And the Reds, despite getting some offense later on in the game, could not overcome the Cubs' total, and they lost. NL East Baseball, the Nationals and Phillies played each other. These two close to first place in the NL East, but the Nationals edged the Phillies in this one, 5-4 the final score. The Nationals 5 runs on 13 hits. The Phillies 4 runs on 10 hits. Tanner Rainey got the win, his 5th of the season. Jose Alvarez got the loss. And Sean Doolittle has reached the 20 plateau. He earned his 20th save in this game. The Tigers and Diamondbacks played each other. 6-1 the final score of this one. The Tigers were only able to score in the 6th inning. Meanwhile, the Diamondbacks got a run in the 1st, a run in the 3rd, and then 4 runs in the 7th to carry this game away. Zach Gallen got the win, and Ivan Nova got the loss. The Marlins and Padres played each other. 10-1 the final score of this game, and the Marlins came out on top. It was a close game mostly throughout, but then the Marlins put up a 5 spot in the 8th inning, and that allowed them to go ahead by 9 runs, and the Padres were down for the count. Jordan Yamamoto got the win, and Joey Lucchesi got the loss. NL West baseball here. The Giants and Rockies played each other. The Giants won 5-2. These are the two teams at the bottom of the NL West right now, so the Giants winning the series could move them back into 4th place, but the Rockies winning the series could push the Giants further down in the basement of the NL West. Tony Watson earned his 14th save in this game. Looking at standings now, starting in the American League East, the New York Yankees are 35-25. They still lead this division. The Blue Jays beat the Orioles, and they got a game closer with the Yankees lost today. They're 31-29, and they're 4 games back. The Rays are 30-31. They're 5.5 games back. They lost today. The Orioles are 28-32. They're 7 games back. They're on a 4-game losing streak, and they just got swept by the Blue Jays. And the Red Sox are 28-33. They've won 2 in a row. They're 7.5 games back of the Yankees, and they're a half game back of the Orioles for 4th place. In the American League Central, the Minnesota Twins are 41-19. They still lead the division, and they just swept the White Sox. So the White Sox are now 3 games back of this division with a 38-22 record. The Indians are 33-27. They're 8 games back. They're on a 2-game winning streak. The Tigers are 23-36, 17.5 games back. They lost today to the Diamondbacks. And the Royals have lost 2 in a row. They still can't get that 20th win yet. They're 19-41, and they're 22 games back of the Twins for 1st place. And in the American League West, the Oakland Athletics are 36-25. They still lead this division. The Astros lost today with the Athletics, so the Astros are 33-27. They're still 2.5 games back. The Angels are 7.5 games back. They gained a game after winning today. They're 27-31. The Rangers beat the Athletics today. They're 25-34. They're 10 games back. And the Mariners are 23-38. They're still in last place. They're on a 4-game losing streak, and they're 13 games back of the Athletics for 1st place. In the National League East, the Washington Nationals are 33-25. The Phillies a game back of them. The Nats beat the Phillies today. The Phillies are 32-26 now. The Marlins are 32-28. They're 2 games back after beating the Padres today. The Braves are 31-29. They're 3 games back, and they're on a 3-game winning streak. And the Mets are 26-33. They're 7.5 games back. They've lost 4 games in a row now. In the National League Central, the St. Louis Cardinals are 32-28. They still lead the division. The Cubs getting closer. They're 29-31. They're 3 games back of the Cardinals. The Brewers are 28-31. They're 3.5 games back. The Reds lost today. They're 24-35. They're 7.5 games back. And the Pirates are still in last place. They're 23-36. They're 8.5 games back, and they've lost 2 games in a row. In the National League West, the Los Angeles Dodgers are 40-18, the second team in baseball to make it to 40 wins. They've won 9 games in a row, and they're still at the top of this division. The Padres lost today, and they're struggling to keep pace with the Dodgers. They're 6 games back. The Diamondbacks are 30-29. They beat the Tigers today. They're 10.5 games back of the division lead. The Rockies are now 16 games back. They lost to the Giants today. They're 24-34. And the Giants are still at the bottom of this division. They're 24-35. They're 16.5 games back of the Dodgers and a half game back of the Rockies. Let's take a look at league leaders now, starting with batting average leaders in the American League. Miguel Cabrera still at the top with a .374 average. Carlos Santana second best with a .368, and Michael Brantley rounds out the top 3 with a .346. In the National League, David Dahl's at a .375, Ronald Acuna Jr. is at a .345, and Jonathan Villar rounds out the top 3 with a .341. And close to him is Cardinals first baseman Paul Goldschmidt, who is also at a .341. Hits leaders in the American League, DJ LeMahieu's at 85, Miguel Cabrera's at 83, along with Miguel Andujar. They're both tied for second best. In the National League, Jonathan Villar's at 86, Ronald Acuna Jr. is at 76, Paul Goldschmidt rounds out the top 3 with 74. At bat leaders in the American League, Miguel Andujar has the most. He's at 251 at-bats. In the National League, Jonathan Villar's at 252 at-bats, and it's not close. The next best is Ozzie Albies, who's at 236. Doubles leaders in the American League, Anthony Rendon has 24 doubles, Jose Abreu's at 23, Whit Merrifield, Rafael Devers, Miguel Andujar, and Giancarlo Stanton are each at 20. In the National League, Jonathan Villar is at 29, Christian Yelich is at 21, Brandon Crawford is at 19. He rounds out the top 3. Triples leaders in the American League, Jose Altuve is still at 5, Adalberto Mondesi second best with 4, Oscar Mercado, Nico Goodrum, Whit Merrifield, Miles Straw, and Steven Piscotty all tied for third best with 3. In the National League, Jonathan Villar has 7, Chris Bryant, Victor Robles, and Hunter Pence are all at 5. They're all tied for second best. Home run leaders in the American League. Josh Donaldson still at the top with 22. Chris Davis is at 21. Lourdes Gurriel Jr. is third best in the American League. He hit his 20th home run today against the Orioles. In the National League, Ronald Acuna Jr. has 23. Max Muncy, he's second best with 18, but that might not last long. He was diagnosed with a torn Achilles tendon yesterday, and he'll be out for the rest of the season. Paul Goldschmidt, third best. He has 17 home runs. RBI leaders in the American League. Lourdes Gurriel Jr. is at 62. Austin Meadows is at 54, as is Josh Donaldson. They're both tied for second best. In the National League, Paul Goldschmidt has 50 runs batted in. Christian Yelich and Cody Bellinger tied for second best with 45. Runs scored leaders in the American League. Rafael Devers has 47. JD Martinez and Marcus Semien each at 45, tied for second best. In the National League, Ronald Acuna Jr. has 52. Trey Turner has 48. Paul Goldschmidt third best with 44. Stolen base leaders in the American League. D. Gordon's at 13. Malik Smith has 12, as does Adalberto Mondesi. They're tied for second best. In the National League, Starling Marte has 22. Jonathan Villar has moved up to second best with 19. Trey Turner third best with 17. Walks leaders in the American League. Shin-Soo Choo has 38. He leads the AL. In the National League, Rhys Hoskins is at 40, and he leads the NL. On-base percentage leaders in the American League. Miguel Cabrera is at 44. Mike Trout is at a 433. And I meant to say Miguel Cabrera is at a 444 on-base percentage. Carlos Santana third best with a 431. In the National League, Dansby Swanson's at a 441. Paul Goldschmidt second best with a 438. And Ronald Acuna Jr. rounds out the top three with a 429. Slugging percentage leaders in the American League. Josh Donaldson's at a 693. Chris Davis is at a 661. Mike Trout third best with a 659. In the National League, Ronald Acuna Jr. at a 755. He's the only one in baseball left with a slugging percentage over 700. Christian Yelich second best with a 661 slugging percentage. Paul Goldschmidt rounds out the top three with a 659. OPS leaders in the American League. Josh Donaldson's at a 1.105. He's the leader. In the National League, Ronald Acuna Jr. is at a 1.184. He's the NL leader. Moving on to pitcher statistics. We have wins leaders here in the American League. Kenta Maeda has 8 wins, and there's a long list of pitchers who have 6 wins, and there's a long list of pitchers who have 5 wins. And you see some of them there on your screen. In the National League, Walker Buehler's at 9 wins. David Price second best with 7, and there's that long list of pitchers who have 6 wins. They're all tied for third best. Losses leaders in the American League. Kenta Maeda and Mike Minor still the only pitchers undefeated in the American League. In the National League, there's nobody undefeated. Walker Buehler has 1 loss, and that's the best out of any pitcher in the NL. And there's a long list there you see of those with 2, and an even longer list of those with 3. Saves leaders in the American League. Brad Hand has 22. Liam Hendricks one behind him with 21. Nick Anderson, Michael Givens, and Roberto Ozuna tied for third best. They all have 18. In the National League, Giovanni Gallegos earned his 24th save today, and that is the Major League best total among relief pitchers. Kenley Jansen second best with 21. Sean Doolittle and Kirby Yates tied for third best with 20. Earned run average leaders in the American League. Jordan Zimmerman's at a 199, Mike Minor 244, and Kenta Maeda 260. In the National League, Walker Buehler's at a 149, Mike Soroka's at a 189, and Jacob deGrom's at a 207. Home runs allowed among American League pitchers. Gio Gonzalez and Mike Minor have let up the least. They've let up 4 home runs this year. In the National League, Garrett Richards and Jacob deGrom have let up the least amount of home runs. They're each at 4. Shutout leaders in the American League. Garrett Cole's at 2, as is Masahiro Tanaka. In the National League, Jacob deGrom's at 3 shutouts. Zach Wheeler and Walker Buehler tied for second best with 2. Strikeout leaders in the American League. Garrett Cole's at 102. Lucas Giolito's at 90. Carlos Carrasco third best with 88. In the National League, Steven Strasburg has 97. He's 3 away from 100. Clayton Kershaw second best with 95. And Robbie Ray third best with 92. Complete games thrown among American League pitchers. Garrett Cole and Masahiro Tanaka still at the top of this list. They have thrown 2 complete games this year. Jacob deGrom and Zach Wheeler have each thrown 3 complete games, and they're tied for the league best. Aaron Nola and Walker Buehler tied for third best with 2. Innings pitched leaders. Eduardo Rodriguez is at 80 and a third innings. In the National League, Clayton Kershaw has reached 83 and 2/3 innings. Walks allowed among American League pitchers. Carlos Carrasco's at 10. And in the National League, Alex Wood, Brett Anderson, and Trevor Williams are all at 60, and they're all tied for the league least in walks allowed. Whip leaders in the American League. Masahiro Tanaka, the only one under 1. He's at a .98. In the National League, Clayton Kershaw leads with a 1.00. Mike Soroka's at a 1.01. Aaron Nola and Jacob deGrom third best with a 1.03. Pitching WAR leaders in the American League, Carlos Carrasco and Shane Bieber at the top of this list. Their pitching WAR is 2. In the National League, Jacob deGrom has a 2.4. Yu Darvish is at a 2.1, and Robbie Ray has a 2. Batting WAR leaders in the American League, Marcus Semien has reached 4. He's at the top of the AL. Josh Donaldson, 3.9, good for second best, and DJ LeMahieu, 3.8, good for third best. In the National League, Ronald Acuna Jr. is at a 4.9. A full point below him is Christian Yelich. Yelich is at a 3.9, and Nolan Arenado rounds out the top 3 with a 3.4. These have been your game recaps, standing updates, and league leaders from Sunday, May the 31st, 2020. I'm Nicholas Callis. You've been watching Major League Baseball's virtual network.